Hey, everybody. Welcome to CloudRadial Live. Today's presentation specifically is about a CloudRadial DNS, our DNS management solution. I'm joined today by Tim from ScoutDNS, who is our partner with this particular product. Tim, how you doing today?
Doing great, Michael. Glad to be
All
here.
right. Absolutely. So the general idea, guys, I'm going to walk through the CloudRadial side of things and what you can expect in the portal. We'll talk a little bit about the product, and we'll jump into a live demonstration because nobody wants to look at a bunch of slides. And then I'll kick over to Tim, and Tim can showcase what kind of the back end and the management looks like and some of the features that they have available. So CloudRadial DNS is a DNS management solution that's a little bit different from other things that you've used in the past. Very similar in functionality, I would say, right? And I'm in a unique position here at CloudRadial. I've probably told some of you this in chat. I sold pretty much every one of Tim's competitors over the years in my time in the MSP space, right? And one thing I noticed across all of them is that they are, ticket generation nightmares. MSPs love them because they provide additional monthly recurring revenue. They provide security, kind of that last line, that first line of defense, right, on the machine. And clients at the end of the day really like the solution because they can spy on their employees and see what they're doing and block them from going to websites they shouldn't during the day. So the self-service aspect here is the big difference. So instead of me as an end user or an admin at one of your co-managed sites having to go through and say, hey, what's Bob doing on his computer? Or which one of my employees is going to Facebook? And you assign that out. It comes in as a ticket. You assign it to a tech. They run a report. They get back to them. We're going to bring all that right in line for them. So again, nobody likes slides. What does it look like? So inside of the unified client portal, when this integration is enabled, it's going to surface itself here under your usage tab. So we're going to go to usage, and we're going to go to internet. From there, we're going to get a list of domain activity for those end users. So again, if I am a admin user at a client site, and I want to know which one of my employees have been going to, LinkedIn today, right? I can quickly go to that. I can see a list of users. Fun fact, Tim, for you, I'm the only one in our demo environment. So every time our account executives show off this solution, it is my data that they are showing off. So I have to be very careful what I go to during the day here because it could just show up during a demo like today. So this is my real data here.
Hey,
From
Mike, I
here,
don't think we're seeing your screen. For comments.
you're not. All right. Well,
we want to see the lovely. We want to see your lovely demo data.
I don't know how
where
that
have you
unshared
been
itself.
going?
I have no idea. All right. So right here to again, just to kind of recap usage, internet, right? Sorry about that, guys. And then we're going to be able to search for LinkedIn here along the top. We're going to pull up a list of that activity. And from there, we can allow that in the future. So if I'm a client admin and I want to allow my employees to go there and it's being blocked, I can do so. If I want to block access for my employees, I can do so again without having to open a ticket with your team. I also have the ability to come in and look at and download that if maybe I need to share this with HR because someone's been going to a site that they shouldn't have. We also have the ability to look at individual users. So if there becomes a question of, hey, what's Mike doing when he's sitting at home all day, right? Or what's Bob doing when he says he's working from home and he leaves at 2 p.m. every day? They can come in, they can look at that individual user, they can see what device they're on, they can view their usage over time, view what websites they're going to, and again, importantly, download that reporting directly from the portal. So CloudRadial DNS becomes one more thing that is useful to your end users there. That is, kind of our side of that integration. It's enabled like everything else in CloudRadial. We've got a partner. We're going to go to settings here, and we're going to go right into our integrations. We can turn on that integration for that CloudRadial DNS. Now from there, I'm going to kick back over to Tim, who's going to show you kind of what it looks like on the back end, which is what you're really used to from any other DNS solution, kind of how that works.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Appreciate that. So I'm going to show sort of what the technicians are seeing. So Mike's point of view would be, what you're enabling for select end users, managers, those type of folks who may be less technical or don't want or don't need or you don't want to have full access to the entire backend system. So that's what I'm going to share now. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Hopefully this will share successfully.
Just
so we
confirmation that you're actually doing it first try, unlike me. So yeah, you're good to go.
Awesome. No, I appreciate that. Now we don't have time to do a full ScoutDNS demo. And so what I just want to show here are a few of the differentiators, some of the things that MSP specifically like about ScoutDNS, aside from just the great integration that we have with CloudRadial and our usage-based billing metrics that makes it really easy to understand how you're billed. So aside from that, what I'm going to jump into really quickly are just, again, a few of those differentiators. Normally, when we talk about DNS protection being deployed, you usually have a couple of different ways that you do that. One is going to be site-based deployment, and we do have site-based deployment options like just about every protective DNS solution. But we also have a zero-touch relay that is cloud managed that can be provisioned on premise. That makes it really easy to do land-based subnet deployment. So if you're a customer and you have land-based subnet deployments that it's useful to do, whether it's BYOD, IoT, just know that our relay, it's adopted with a single line of code. You press the adopt button, it makes that really, really easy to do. The next thing that clients really like about, or MSPs really love about our experience is the way that we manage roaming clients. A lot of times you hear from other MSP experiences that they've deployed roaming clients. They had issues with captive portals or unreliable roaming clients that really irritated end users, generated a lot of support tickets. And so we're one of the only vendors that has a service control API. So within ScoutDNS, I can select any client device here, and with a single button, I can disable the loopback adapter service on the client itself. It takes about 30 seconds. This works even if DNS has failed. So if you're ever having to troubleshoot or you've got an instance where internet may be an issue, you don't know if it's DNS, it's always DNS, right? In some cases, it's not. This is a really strong, powerful differentiator. It allows you to just simply disable our agent remotely without having to uninstall or try to run some type of script. And that works really well. We can even do that in mass. So one of the great things about this is I can select an entire tenant, and then I can say, hey, we want to disable an entire tenant. And I'll give you a use case where this really came up. So we had a partner a few weeks ago, a larger MSP partner. They had one tenant specifically with 200 end users. Everything is working great. And then a different technician within the same MSP comes along and deploys an always-on VPN without testing or configuring it to coexist with the DNS filtering solution here. And so by doing that, they bricked all 200 devices. If it had been a different solution, they would have had a very painful experience of manually, they couldn't even access the RMM. It was completely bricked. And so they would have had to have a very painful experience of talking through 200 different end users on how to manually turn the DNS solution off or stop the VPN. So with ScoutDNS, they simply selected the tenant, they did a mass select, they did a mass disable, and within about 60 seconds, all 200 devices were back online, and they were able to reconfigure the VPN to work properly, and everyone was happy. So that's just another example of how powerful that API service is. All of our agents are always encrypted as well, DNS over HTTPS on 443. They're always getting through, they're always encrypted. We have failback mechanisms for all kinds of things, fail open. The service works really well. And so that's a big differentiator. Another relatively newer differentiator for us is the ability that we have to do Active Directory and Entra ID group-based policies. So when you do have tenants that want to move beyond just threat protection and they want to go into that content content restriction or content management, and they'd like to be able to do that by user groups. Maybe they have different groups or departments that might have different or varying access needs. Within ScoutDNS, you now have the option to do that with what we call a persona. And a persona makes it really easy for us. It takes about 5 minutes. A lot of other vendor solutions require you to install a syncing tool. It's a really manual syncing process, but we can do native Active Directory and Entra ID group-based policies directly within Scout. It takes about 4 to 5 minutes to set up. And that gives you that better visibility, again, back in on the CloudRadial side as well. So I'll show you real quickly. It's really simple to do. If you want to deploy Active Directory Entra ID, you simply go to configure. You're going to say new persona. We're real big on object-based configurations, and we use the persona is the object that manages group-based policy. So with us, you simply say, I want to do a new persona. If it's Active Directory, you simply select the Active Directory tab. You will choose a domain. Now, I've already bound my lab domain, so I can't bound it again, but that's really all you got to do here is just select the domain. We automatically pull this from the roaming clients themselves. So once you bind the domain itself, I can then go into the AD instance. I can see groups that we have synced up, and then I can apply policy to user groups. And so that just takes a few minutes. On the Entra ID side, it's also equally simple. You simply go to Entra ID. You will add your tenant. We have an official, Entra enterprise app. And so you simply add the tenant, bind the tenant to the persona itself. And then once you've done that, we can now show you groups that we sync from Entra ID, and then you can assign a policy to groups. So if you want to create a no social media group, for instance, and assign a specific policy to that, that is really easy to do. Then users that are a member of that group will be assigned that policy. So again, you can do that by deploying a single profile across all those devices, and then use the persona to configure your Entra ID or on-premise AD policies as well. No syncing tool required. So that's a really great feature that more and more MSPs are taking advantage of. Aside from that, we have really powerful policy controls, all the things you expect to see. We also like to do high-level application blocking. So to block things like remote access tools that aren't yours, VPNs, web proxy services. Those are really powerful things that we can do that block really tens of thousands of applications. They're really great. We have a powerful Insights tab. Again, this is sort of the technician version that you would see that allows you to kind of drill in and say, hey, show me the unique FQDNs related to Microsoft.com, then drill into the log view. And in that log view, I can see the users and devices, and then I can even export that. So again, we had this really great drill down functionality. There's also a category tab to kind of drill down and show me the domains. I'd like to see the specific FQDNs or users or logs. Really powerful. We also have obviously a raw query log. We store 30 days of full query data, but if you'd like to go beyond that full 30 days of query data, we just recently launched our SIEM data export feature that allows you to generate new SIEM export data streams. And so a really great feature. We don't charge MSPs extra to use this feature. It's included. There's no per seat extra cost to use this integration. Simply set it up, assign your sources, URL directors, your event collector token. Another great feature about the ScoutDNS version of this is that you can choose the organizations whose data are sent to your SIEM. And so instead of just sending all organizations, which you can if you like, I can also name just specific organizations, which makes it really easy to send the data that you want and not the data that you don't want. So again, really powerful feature that it's just going into production this week, and we will have some more information about that over the coming weeks as well. So that's a really, really powerful. Another thing, the way that we do custom lists, again, we're real big on object-based configuration. And so within ScoutDNS, you can create global lists for global allow block lists. You can also create customer-specific lists, vertical-based list, application list if you want to allow or block specific applications. You can do it at the list level. And then I can assign lists one-to-one, one-to-many, or many-to-one. So there's a lot of powerful features there. We also have a Zero Trust TLD control feature that allows you to build out trusted TLDs on a per tenant basis. So just adding top-level domains to a block list would make it really easy to kind of conform the TLDs that a specific tenant needs, and so that all other TLDs are blocked by default. This goes into the strategy where we talk about moving beyond just the known threat, kind of the traditional, we're going to block something based on it's on a known threat list or it's a known threat vector. we can go to where we're trying to shrink the attack surface to what a tenant needs. And so we do that a couple of different ways. One is through the TLD control. The other is through our ability to block unclassified. So the fact that we cover 99.9% of the visible web in 200 languages at a 99.4% accuracy rate makes it really easy for us to enable things like blocking unclassified, to stop zero-day attacks that are spun up on the same day. And again, really, really powerful feature that a lot of our MSPs use. In the Insight tab, makes it really easy for you to get in there and have visibility into those specific FQDNs and domains. Obviously, we have an organizations tab that allows you to, create specific tenants. You can see all the objects related to the tenant. I can see statistics on that tenant for the last 30 days. We have a usage and billing tab that makes it really easy to understand, how your tenants are being billed. And so, I can put in, my cost, and I can calculate, on a per tenant basis, what tenants are paying and, how they're being invoiced. So that really, how you're being invoiced for those specific organizations. So that's really easy to do. Things like custom blog pages. You can generate custom blog pages per tenant. We support Entra ID SSO, full role-based access, and different roles that are managed now within Entra when you enable the Entra-based SSO. You can also create organization operators, which are external operators. If you have co-managed IT, you can generate accounts just for those co-managed IT departments. And that's where it kind of works alongside with the CloudRadial piece. If you have a less technical user, a manager, branch manager, supervisor, they need access to allow block lists or user reports, grant them that access in the CloudRadial portal. If you have a larger co-managed customer that also wants to be directly in ScoutDNS, we can grant them access just to their tenant as an organization operator so that when they log in, they can view the objects just within their tenancy. And so that's really easy for you to set up, and you will have full control over that. So again, I know we don't have time for a full demo. I know you can reach out to Mike, and he can kind of facilitate setting one of those up so that we can dive deeper into the platform. We can dive deeper into the integration and also talk about things that are coming from a roadmap standpoint between the two companies to continue to make this integration more effective for you and your end user. So Mike, that's about all that I'm going to have. I want to leave some time for questions.
Sure.
Anything so you might want to bring around.
Tim has made an excellent point. If you do want to know more information, I said this in the chat, but it's probably bears repeating. If you know who your account manager is at CloudRadial, either myself or one of our other account managers, feel free to reach out to them, use their meeting link, use and abuse that thing, right? So if you need anything, we're your primary points of contact here at CloudRadial, but also here to run through demos of some of our other solutions like CloudRadial DNS or chat or Service AI or any of the other things we have here in our group of products. Now, with all of that being said, Tim, as someone who worked at an MSP and has used pretty much, like I said, every single solution, there's a few things here that I really love about your product that I usually show off. And one of those is that agent. It's amazing the way that you guys have the ability to quickly disable it, because let me tell you, in between my time in the MSP space, right? I think I told you this. I was working as the director of IT for municipal government for a while, and I brought one of my DNS solutions along for the ride. They good government price. And what always happened is their agent failed closed on me, right? And so I would have to get in my car and drive through the snow and drive to our public works building every time that happened and manually disable their agent, set my DNS settings back manually, and then later on I go in and fix it. You guys to troubleshoot for your technicians out there, partners, it's really easy to come in. This is my machine we're on right now. If I'm calling you to say, hey, I can't get to this site and I think it's your DNS management for troubleshooting purposes, bam, disable it. Look, we're still talking live on the webinar while that has been shut off. Now I can browse wherever I want. It's not going through that agent. And once we've troubleshooted, you can turn it back on. We can forget it from this cloud interface. We can uninstall it from here, and that's huge. The other thing, man, the logs that you guys provide and how verbose those are, and the R data, the raw DNS queries that you guys are actually showing, that's massive over a lot of the solutions that I had. And I think I told your story that would have saved me a literal police investigation with our director of public safety in looking at the web activity of an employee. If I had had this, we would have known it was a red herring and we wouldn't have had to launch that investigation, right? So the amount of data you guys are showing, how easy it is to manage on the back end is huge. So like I said, if you guys want to look into it, please reach out to us directly. More than happy to run through a demo on that. And actually, I've unshared my screen, but there's one more thing I wanted to show. So I'll share that one more time here. And that would be pricing, right? So number of pricing breaks that are available. This is right on our website, cloudradial.com/pricing as well. But you got to see how those things break down. And if you guys want to give this a shot, want to try it out, more than happy to set that up for you. So please do reach out to us. Any questions?
Mike, I did see a question about accessing the CloudRadial portal and ScoutDNS, and you did answer that pretty good. So it's really your choice. If you enable the integration with CloudRadial, by default, they do not have access to ScoutDNS. But if you have co-managed customers with a more technical engineer that wants to also access Scout, you can create them as an organizational operator within Scout, and that specific user can access the ScoutDNS UI itself directly. So it's really kind of how you prefer to configure it.
All right. Good catch. Yeah, Dwight. You more than happy to talk to you on our next session, Dwight. You and I meet pretty often and kind of go through what situations you might want to give people access to that and how to do it. Anyways, again, thank you guys for joining us today. If there's any questions, do reach out to your account manager. And hey, check out I do see a question. Where is that pricing page? That's going to be at cloudradial.com/pricing. Let me go ahead and drop that right here in Answer Live and send that over to you. So I've answered it. It's in the chat right now. You can see the pricing of everything. We're very transparent about that, based on your user counts of any of the products that we have in our portfolio or any of our integrations. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. Do check out the rest of the series, CloudRadial Live. We've got a lot of stuff coming up early next week. I think Tuesday might be the next one. And we've got an overview of our API changes and flexible assets and everything in the portal. Definitely worth checking out, and check out the rest of the series too. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Mike.